Hey, welcome to the Daily Beard for April 21st, 2019. Happy Easter. So, I wonder what I'm going to talk about today. Let's talk about Jesus. Okay. And I don't say that in a bad way. It's Jesus. There's actually a question. This isn't going to be part of my question of the week, but it was asked in my small group on my chat we have. It's the texting club that we have. That's what one of the moms calls it. Which is more important, Jesus' birth or Jesus' death and resurrection. And he actually said Jesus' birth and redirection, but that's beside the point. We had a good laugh about that. But I'm not going to say who said it. So theologically speaking, it's an interesting question, but Jesus' birth is obviously necessary. He had to be born to die, but he also, the way he was born and the fact that he was perfect and lived a perfect life with no sin, and that's why when he died on behalf of everyone, he was the perfect sacrifice. It's a whole thing with the Jewish system of sacrifice. You had to give a perfect substitution for you. So usually it was a lamb. There was other animals you could use too, but they had to be without blemish. They had to be perfect. And and Jesus was. And so him being born, he could have been born and not done all that. So that's why it's not as important. But here's why there's this thing that people obviously go, well, what's more important, Good Friday or Easter morning? And Good Friday was super important, really was. It's what Jesus did was took everyone's punishment on that cross that he was supposed to be for me and for you and for everybody else. He took everyone's sin from the past, from the present, when he did it, to the future, to anything anyone's ever going to do upon himself. And that's awesome. And that's amazing. And that's sweet and all that great words you want to use. But if he died and then stayed dead, then that was a one-time thing. So you understand, in the Jewish system, you sacrificed an animal for your sin, but then next week, guess what you had to do again? You had to sacrifice another animal because you screwed up in that week. And I can attest, I screw up all the time. I sin all the time. I have thoughts I shouldn't have. I do things I shouldn't do. I get angry with people that I shouldn't get angry with. I sin. So the whole crux of the thing is resurrection, Jesus coming back. If Jesus didn't get Paul in the Bible, Paul was a super hardcore big theologian guy in the Bible. He wrote a lot of the New Testament. He was once called Saul and he persecuted the church, and then he met Jesus and that changed him, because that was Jesus meaning Jesus does. Literally talked about the fact that if the resurrection didn't happen, then we're the saddest people on the planet, because it only works if he came back. Because now, because he died and was a sacrifice and then returned, that sacrifice lives on. So it's a living sacrifice now. So it doesn't have to be made again and again and again. We don't need another guy to come who's perfect and be sacrificed for us. We don't need to sacrifice anything else. We don't need to sacrifice any lambs. We don't need to do anything but accept that sacrifice, because he died and then rose again. And that rising again part is the center. It's the masterpiece of it all. This was the virgin birth was a big deal. The taking everyone's sin on Good Friday was a massive deal. But the linchpin to this whole thing is Resurrection Day, is Easter. And without that, all the rest doesn't mean much, to be truthful. It's nice, but it doesn't mean much because it doesn't stick. It's a one-time thing, but because he's alive and he's still alive, Jesus, people occasionally make jokes about Jesus being a zombie and stuff, and it bothers me a little bit, just a little bit. And I'm sure some people would like to make jokes about that, but no, because he's alive and lives forever. He's a living sacrifice. That's why it's more important. That's why the resurrection, and the death and resurrection, but most importantly, the resurrection is the most important thing in the whole history of the world and the Bible and all that stuff. It's the most important thing that ever happened. And I get to celebrate it today. And I had a really good day at church. We sang lots of songs, and I got emotional, and our pastor preached awesome. And then I came home and had turkey with my family, which is also awesome and made me very sleepy. And now I'm going to have the after effects of the turkey. You don't be glad you're not smelling me. So, but this is the importance of the day. This is why Easter is so important. Yeah, so happy Easter. I hope you understand what it's for. I hope you participate in what it's for. If you don't, and you want to ask questions, feel free to talk to me. Or talk to someone who else you might know. And, there's lots of videos you can watch and all that stuff. But either way, most important day in history. We celebrate today. Thanks for watching. God bless.